Hey everybody, welcome to Spartan Savants. Travis Tyler alongside Winston Urwiller, Nick Homberg, a couple Spartan alums here to talk about Spartan sports on a new Michigan State sports podcast. Today we're going to be going into our thoughts on the non-conference games so far with Central Michigan, Richmond, Washington, and then we'll talk a little bit about the coaching search after Mel Tucker, and talk about Maryland as well. All right, so Central Michigan, first game. Um, I didn't see you can't really tell too much from that one. The offense had a slow start. Kim was inaccurate. There were a few early drops. Finally turned things around. What did you guys see in that one? I'll start with Nick for that.
So Central, kind of a little bit of an extension of last year. It felt like just starting off slow, not looking very good in the first half. I mean, I was texting like disaster first half to
Yep, yep.
both you guys. Just Noah Kim. I don't know about this guy. We can get back to that later. But yeah, not great. But that second half we looked much better. I thought a little bit better than we looked against Western last year. Seems like Kim was making some throws. Our defense looks good again, although Central is Central, so I don't really know how that will translate to actual opponents.
Kind of do now, but
Yeah.
in that game, yeah, I thought, like I said, we were hurt by some early drops. I wanted to see our offensive line dominate a lot more than they did during that game. But I mean, I thought I saw some good things from our offense. In that one, I don't think we've carried it over since then. Um,
Yeah,
Winston,
if
what did you
I
see in the Central game?
yeah, I will I think to piggyback off Nick, the first half I thought was uh maybe the one of the most disappointing halves of Michigan State football, obviously up until Washington. First half I was really discouraged by the play of the offensive line
Yep.
and the quarterback, Kim. I was ready to shut it down right then and there after the first half. I wanted uh Hauser in immediately. I thought Kim looked terribly inaccurate, especially in the short to mid range
Mm-hmm.
passes. He looked really uncomfortable. The offensive line, I thought, was bailed out by Carter a few times. I thought Carter
Yep.
was impressive. He jumped out right away, ran with a lot of attitude. Um, second
Fantastic
half,
vision. Yeah.
yeah. Second half, a lot more encouraging. I thought there was a little hope there coming out of that. Still was a wait and see on Kim. I thought the vertical passing was impressive. I thought he put a couple deep balls around the numbers. Receivers made some great plays. Coming out of that game, I was obviously first half again really disappointed. I thought the second half left some encouraging
Mm-hmm.
takeaways. Still, like looking back now in hindsight, the offensive line is obviously a problem when you're playing Central Michigan. You would expect your Big Ten linemen to really dominate that game. And I don't think they did. And looking back, I think it's going to be unfortunately, a problem
A
that lingers
serious
all
problem.
season. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely transpired that way. And they looked like a MAC offensive line for the first three games, I would say.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. If I sorry to cut you off there, Fist. If I could
no, that's good.
go back to play calling, is it? This is not specific to the Central game, but it started there. I mean the shotgun runs on 4th and 1 when you have a guy like Carter, just get under center or run a QB sneak. There's all this wonky stuff. These slow developing run plays on 4th and 1 is mind boggling to me. And there's just no rhythm.
Hmm.
Sometimes they do
Hmm.
tempo, and then 2 plays later, they huddle up again and they slow it all down. And it's all just a bigger picture to me. The offense has no identity. And we can talk about that when we get past the first three games. But I just think it's just so alarming how bad it is in the fourth year of Jay Johnson's offense.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
one of my points was that was going to come up when we talk about the coaching stuff. I think the new coach needs to be someone who hires much more creative coordinators on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely.
And there's no identity either side, and it's 4 years into the tenure of this coaching staff, and we've seen zero improvement anywhere.
you could argue from what you've seen so far, there's been some regression too, but we can get to that later.
Fair enough.
Certainly.
Now, what about the Richmond game? I thought things looked a little bit better, but there were still some missed throws. Obviously, it's Richmond, so you can't really tell. And then one of the big missed throws I thought was, yeah, actually a touchdown. Kim threw the ball, it looked like it was going to go like 20 yards out of bounds, and Tiny Hopper just saved his ass the entire time.
Yeah, I think Kim has been bailed up by receivers a couple times this season,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Richmond specifically, I mean, I thought they did what they were supposed to do versus a team like Richmond. I mean, it's hard to really take away anything from that game. I thought Kim, again, actually looks pretty solid. A bit of a slow start, not as bad as Central. Um, they put up 45 points or right around there. I can't remember the exact number. Um,
Hmm.
I think that's the classic Michigan State versus one of those type of teams. They never really
Yeah.
seem to get to that 50 or 60 and really blow somebody out. Um, but like you said, it's hard to take away too much from that game. I they did what they were supposed to do. Again, I didn't think the offensive line was overly dominant, which you would like to see. But between both the first two games, I thought the defense looked very physical. And going into the Washington game, I was really encouraged by that. Obviously not to get ahead of myself, but that didn't carry over. But the first two games, the defense I was pleased with, and I thought Kim made
Hmm.
enough good throws that I thought he would settle in a little bit as the season went on. But um, you know, that's obviously a different feeling now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Nick, anything to add?
Not really. I think it's time
Uh,
to talk about last week, Washington.
Last. All right, we put it off long enough, I guess. All right. Obviously, we're not even going to get into the score and everything there. Massive disappointment, total letdown, especially with that Rose Bowl celebration going on there. Complete 180 from the way that team was to what we saw on Saturday. I thought at least early there were some opportunities that we didn't take advantage of, and it just completely unraveled from there and turned everything over Washington's way. And I also thought that, some you were just talking about the defense, Winston, that there were a couple times where the defensive backs were in pretty good coverage and they just got absolutely, they were in good position. They just didn't make the play, and the receivers just went right over them and were too. I mean, you're covering 4 or 5 NFL wide receivers there. And we were at a clear disadvantage there, and I didn't think the defense, I didn't think we were getting enough pressure on Penix at all whatsoever.
Yeah, the game plan defensively I thought was really safe. You can't
Yeah.
give Washington that much of a cushion, especially if you're not going to get pressure on the quarterback. And I think Visca hit the nail on the head. You're coming into a game where you have to defend 3 to 5 NFL quality receivers, a Heisman level quarterback. Um, it just did not go. Things did not go
Mm-mm.
well, and they didn't go well
Mm-mm.
quickly. We just never found our footing defensively. There were receivers that were wide open on plays, but then Trav, I think you made a good point. There were certainly plays where we were in position to make a play. The one that sticks out to me is when they were backed up in their own 1 or 2 yard
Mm-hmm.
line, and Penix had a defender right in his lap and threw the ball about 60 yards, uh, right into a spot where only his receiver could catch it. I mean, our guy was right there, but just didn't make a play on the ball. Having said that, I think there was a lot of plays where our guys were not in position, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where you have to point to the coaching is just not getting guys in the position to make plays.
Yeah.
Offensively, and I mean, I could just hammer this home all day.
Mm-hmm.
Kim never looked like he settled in. The offensive line
Mm-hmm.
didn't give any
Mm-hmm.
kind of chance. 12 for 31 for 136 yards. That's a below 40% completion
Yeah.
percentage.
Yeah. It
It's
was,
just not a
yeah.
recipe for success.
Yeah.
No,
Um,
the penalties
and
too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Nick. Go. I mean, go
If we
on. I mean,
that was where I was going next, but yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Nick.
So honestly, sad thing to say, we keep saying that our team doesn't really have an identity, but after watching a lot of whenever we play a team
It
with a
could be
QB with a
penalties. Yeah.
pulse, it looks like our identity might just be, pardon my French, getting absolutely fucked by quarterbacks and having about 10 penalties a game. Like,
Yeah.
and some of
Fair
the
enough.
penalties were just so silly. I mean, a couple substitution penalties. To me, that comes down to coaching. It's frustrating that I want to sympathize with Harlan Barnett and everything they went through last week, but that's just inexcusable type penalties that you just can't have. You can't shoot yourself in the foot like that.
Yeah, yeah. It was on both sides of the ball. I mean, it was bad. And then back to your point about the defense first, that Scotty Hazelton didn't make any adjustments on his game plan from last year, it looked like.
Right.
And that's been one of the biggest issues his entire time. There's been no
Yeah.
improvement there. Fails to make adjustments, which is coaching 101, basically. And he's putting the players in a bad position. And then on the offense, I thought what I saw was a few plays early that we missed because of Noah Kim throws. The one where he overthrew Carter early. Even the interception he threw, I think he stared that receiver down, and I thought I thought Fitzpatrick was open behind him, but not the guy that he actually threw the ball to, and that completely turned the game completely around at that point.
Yeah, I've noticed that about Kim. He has a tendency, especially on those short, quick ones, really just stares the guy right in the face. I mean, there's no there's no surprise on where he's throwing the ball.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes that's okay if you have, like, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers' arm, something like that.
Sure.
But not when you're Noah Kim.
No.
Put it that way.
Yeah. What did you guys think? There was a play in the first half. We were down 21-0 about that. Could have been 28. I can't remember. I want to say it was second or third down. Noah Kim scrambled and slid about 2 or 3 yards short of the first down to make it 3rd and 4, 4th and 4. I mean, I get he's 185 pounds, but when you're down 21-0 at home in a huge game like that, at some point you got to be a leader of the team and put the head down and take the hit and get the first. He absolutely could have picked that first down up, and him sliding, I just thought signified game over.
It's a lack of awareness. I mean, it's complete opposite of Hayden Hauser in the fourth quarter, the touchdown run.
Great
And
point.
that game was over at that time. I mean,
that moment where Kim just slid way too early, that kind of closed the book on Kim for me. I'm like, look, he'd be lights out against Maryland, who knows, but it's going to take a lot for me to change my opinion for him after that. That just seemed like such a kind of scared move.
Well,
couldn't agree more.
That's where I was going to ask was, at what point are you starting to call for Hauser to come in over Kim?
Second half of the Central Michigan game.
I mean, fair. That aside, let's just going forward. What point are we talking about?
I would start him this week. I don't see. I mean, realistically, look, I'm a fan. I'm a little more emotional than a coach should be, so I'll try to take my fan hat off here. I think you give him one more. I think you give him one more start, see how it goes versus Maryland. But if it's more of the same, I think you got to pull the plug. You have to start thinking about the future and where the transfer portal situation could come into play. I mean, we've got 2 pretty highly touted quarterbacks, Hauser and Leavitt, that are waiting for their chance. And I think they're the future more than I think Noah Kim is the future. The Washington game is maybe not the best game to say, okay, you're done. Although I think that third down play was pretty telling of what we're going to get from him this season. If I'm a coach in the film room, I got to be saying, hey, man, you got to be a leader of the team here and show everyone that you're willing to take a hit and make the play for the team. But realistically, take the fan head off. I think you let him start for Maryland, but short leash, in my opinion. I don't know, Nick, what your thoughts are.
I agree 100%. I would say let Kim start. I mean, everyone has a bad day in the office, but if he give him a short leash, if he doesn't look good, like if we're trailing, I think you got to give Hauser the start, because in all camp they were saying he's almost as good. He plays a little bit better in the scrimmages, and Kim plays a little bit better in the practices. So if he's really that close, like, what do we have to lose?
I agree. At this point, I don't think it's much.
Also, did you guys see at the end of the game, Leavitt go over and kind of dap up the Washington coach?
I was going to bring that up. Yeah. It doesn't bode well. I mean, the dude's from what? Is it from Washington or Oregon? I can't remember.
Oregon.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter.
Committed to Washington State, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, from Pac-12 country.
Yeah.
Pac-12 is not going to be around anymore, but right across the state border. that doesn't look good, especially with the situation we got,
Yeah,
which is
kind of touching on that situation. I think it's a fair question to ask. If Mel Tucker was on the sidelines coaching that game, how different do you think the outcome would have been?
not much, honestly. Not
I
the,
tend to agree.
yeah.
Not very
I
much.
mean, we don't know what his game plan would have gone in there, but I mean, if he was thinking like-minded with his coordinators and all that, and
Yeah,
everybody who was on the staff running the game, yeah,
I can't
I
imagine
thought-
they changed the game plan up that much.
well,
Yeah,
it's like Trav said. It's almost like they copied and pasted the game plan from
Yep.
last year, which we lost bad. The
Mhm.
score was not indicative of how close that game actually was.
Yeah.
The score was closer than the game actually was, I should say. And it's like they just copied and pasted, and with almost the same players. I mean, it's not like we
yeah,
brought in a ton of talent on the back end of that defense to change anything. And the missed tackles, I was really disappointed with, especially
Yeah,
from a
that was
team that I
really
thought
bad.
the defense played so physical. I was so impressed by some of the guys. Tatum, I was impressed with. Spencer, I thought has played physical, and it's just like they came out and it was flat. I mean, so
Yeah.
flat.
yeah. And then offensively, I didn't think the game plan was good at all. I thought that was complete shit. Like
Yeah, it's just another.
Nick and I were talking. You need we can't get in a track meet with Washington because we don't have the personnel for that. You got to slow things down. And instead they went tempo, and they needed more of a D'Antonio style approach. And even with him on the sidelines, they didn't get that.
And that's where your offensive line has to do a job and
Mhm.
give Nathan Carter the opportunity to run the ball for 3 or 4 yards on first and second down. I feel like they tried to get there early, no success, and then they got down by too much. And once they got down 20 points, then they just had to start throwing the ball,
Mhm.
and it
Mhm.
never had a chance. I mean, Nathan Carter, the game plan should have been 25 to 30 carries easily.
Yeah.
And that is tough with the backup running back situation and all the injuries they're facing at that position. It looked, off the bat like they were going to try and go that way, and then obviously didn't have success. And Noah Kim on third and long passing downs, not a good spot to be for Michigan State's offense.
Mhm.
Can we talk about
Right.
the fake knee?
Yeah.
The fake
That
knee.
was-
kneel?
That was just mean.
I mean, you're up like, what was it, 35 to nothing?
Yeah,
38
throw for
nothing. I love
400
that for
yards
that.
first
I
down.
have
Yeah.
so many issues with that. One, I don't even care about running up the score or
No.
making Michigan State look stupid. If you want to run the play, by all means, I mean, they've earned the opportunity to do that. From a Washington perspective, why are you putting that on tape in a game that you're up 35 nothing?
Yeah.
Why are
No,
you pulling that one out?
Save it for a game that means something.
Yeah, save
Like,
that for
yeah,
Oregon.
like
Save that for
USC,
Colorado.
Oregon,
when
yeah,
you're down
yeah.
to score before the half and they think you're good. Like, that was absurd. And then all of a sudden, they just threw the ball like 3 times and they scored. I mean, it was just.
I mean, that's
they
the kind of
walked
day it
into
was.
the end zone.
Yeah.
I mean, the three of us could have covered them that well.
I mean, to have a little, just a little sympathy would have been nice. I mean, it's just such a slap in the face.
We're probably pissed off from those losses at Indiana.
Yeah, maybe. And Penix Jr. looks good, man. He can sling
So much
it.
better, so much better than he did when he was freshman at Indiana.
Oh, so much more.
I remember thinking this guy just runs. He throws like crap. And now beautiful deep ball, excellent
Yes.
pocket presence. It's
so much more refined. I mean,
fantastic.
when he throws the ball, he puts it right where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Throws on the run, going to his opposite side. I was really impressed.
Yeah. He's suddenly one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Never
Yeah.
thought I'd say that from
He's
him.
got a lot of help too. I mean, those
Oh, yeah.
receivers are
Yeah.
legit.
Oh my gosh. They probably got 3 first-round picks in there eventually, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, pretty close to it.
Yep.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the coaching carousel.
Now we're talking, baby.
Yeah, here we
Alright.
go. Here we go. Everybody knows the situation by now. We're not going to get into that.
Thank
Let's
God, please
just-
don't.
Yeah.
The sticky
Let's just.
details.
Yeah.
Nice, Nikki.
That's like the fourth time he said this on one of these recordings.
It's a good one.
I know. Okay. So basically, everybody knows the situation. We're not getting into that. Mel Tucker out as the head coach. Let's just get straight to the point. Who are some of you guys' favorite candidates for the coaching role?
I'll let Nikki go first.
Okay. Yeah.
It sounds like the consensus for most people is Mike Elko, Duke's head coach.
Mhm. Even
Obviously
Valenti's on
pretty-
board with that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's that I've seen people talk about I think Charles Huff, Marshall's head coach. I think his name's Charles. That seems to be a pretty popular name. I think I would prefer a coach that has some experience in coaching a Power 5 team. I think that's one of the more important things we need. Someone who's kind of good at building a program while obviously Mike Elko hasn't built Duke. He's been doing a pretty good job so far. And he
Yeah.
kind of seems like a guy that would understand kind of the basketball school mentality too that you could argue MSU has. Know that he's not the only fish on campus.
That's a good point.
And he only makes
will,
I think 3.5 million or something. He does not make very much.
Yeah, it's 3.5. I will say on the argument for Huff, he coached at Alabama and Penn State, was a major part of recruiting Saquon Barkley and Miles Sanders to Penn State. So I mean, he's got experience there. And the only thing that worries me about that a little bit is, or about him a little bit, is he's the head coach at Marshall now. They've been doing pretty well, but he's an offensive background coach, and their defense is doing better than their offense. It's a little hesitant there, but I mean, we do need someone who can improve the defense given the last 4 years.
Well, we need someone who's going to improve both, realistically.
Yeah.
But I would say defense slightly over offense at this point is what it's getting at.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last coaching hire, when we hired Mel Tucker, I don't think the recruiting was, well, it was probably still as big of a deal, but I don't think we knew how big of a deal it was going to be. And I think Tucker raised the level of recruiting from where it was. Certainly, you could say whatever you want about Mel Tucker. I think he left the program in a better spot than he took it over.
Agree.
I'm sorry, not saying much, but
from
look,
a recruiting standpoint, absolutely, yeah.
The next guy, and I'll get into names. The next guy, the goal has got to be, let's stop getting these 5-star recruits, just getting them on campus. Let's land one. And look, I think Elko is intriguing. I think, Nikki, you make a great point about the basketball school thing, and things seem to be going well at Duke. I always like when you can see coaches that have an upset like they did over Clemson. I mean, coming from a true D'Antonio fan, that guy lived off upsets. I mean, that guy was a big game hunter when it came to upsets. I don't know much about Huff or Marshall. I think I'm with Nikki on the Power 5 thing. I'm sorry, the Group of 5. I really would prefer a Power 5 coordinator or a guy who's coached the Power 5 level. Having said that, I think that there's a lot of good coaches that have come from the Group of 5. I mean, look at Mike Norvell at Florida State; he's done a great job there. There's good coaches out there. I think just a couple quick names, and then I'll get into my number one guy. But I like Sean Lewis, OC out of Colorado. Has head coaching experience at Kent State, brought them to a bowl game, almost impossible to win 6 games there. Interesting move to go to Colorado, but I think you'll learn a lot under Deion with the recruiting aspect. The other guy that I like, drawing a blank on his name here, the guy from Oregon State has done
John
a nice
Smith.
job.
Jonathan Smith.
John Smith. Yeah, I like him so much I can't remember his name. He's done a nice job. That's his alma mater, so who knows what
that's
kind of
tough.
loyalty there is there. But I mean, Pac-12, they're nowhere to go. I mean, they're going to be without a home. I feel like the Big Ten job has just got to be too enticing there. Wish list, Don't think it's going to happen. Kalen DeBauer from Washington. Says we have remaining time 10 minutes. Are we going to be? All right.
I'm glad that said something to somebody else because it usually doesn't show up.
Do we hit to start a new meeting after this?
We can finish coach talk and then start it.
Okay.
All we have left is Maryland after that. Yeah.
Okay. Kalen DeBauer. I mean, obviously, I think he's going to be getting an extension sometime pretty soon. So I don't think I think it's a bit lofty. And I'm going to go there. And my number one guy, Urban Meyer, I think you just have to make him say no 5 times. Now, before I get into all this, I'll start off by saying I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Michigan State's ever going to go there. 2, I think he's done coaching. I think the NFL was kind of his, I'm going to give one more crack at this thing, see if I could do it at the next level. Didn't work out. I think he's done. Having said that, I think from a Michigan State perspective, and I think Rico Beard put this so perfectly, you are never going to make the media say nice things about you with this coaching hire. Probably with any hire or anything you do. They have made up their minds about Michigan State. It will not do Michigan State any good to hire this goody two-shoes guy because they're still going to write what they write. They're going to talk about D'Antoni. They're going to talk about Nassau. They're going to talk about Mel Tucker now. The media has made up their minds about Michigan State. That article of, they're turning things around. This is the new Michigan State doing things the right way. That is never going to happen. There's no reason to hold your breath on that. So you want to hire the goody two-shoes guy and go 8-4 every year with maybe once every 5 years, you have a chance to win 10 games. Do that. I'm out. I will not watch Michigan State football if that's the way they go. Having said that, Urban Meyer wins football games. So you go out, you get a guy that knows how to recruit, that can bring 5 stars not only to campus, but keep them on campus. Obviously, we don't even need to get into the resume. He's had a great success at the college level, recruiting, all those things. Sure, he comes with baggage, but you know what gets rid of baggage? Winning. Look at Georgia. No one talks about all the criminals they have on that team. All those Ohio State issues that they have, no one talks about those issues because Urban Meyer won games. Those teams at Florida, we talk about them now because it's crazy to think what was going on, but no one talked about it at the time because he's winning football games. So if you want people to stop talking about all the bad stuff about Michigan State, hire someone that wins football games. It's so simple. And I'm sure there's other coaches out there that could do that, but that's my piece. I think Urban Meyer is the guy. Make him say no 5 times. I'm sure it's not going to happen. It's not realistic, but that's the guy.
Yeah, I agree with all the points on that. I did see the video that you were talking about with Rico talking about Urban, and I think you made a great point. When you're winning, no one cares about the other shit.
That's right.
I think there's a couple other guys kind of in that same vein who are just like, well, not really in that, but like they're coaches with not such great reputations from their last jobs that they've had. You know, a guy like Dan Mullen maybe, or Tom Herman. Those guys
Herman,
kind
I'm
of fit in
interested
that same thing.
Yeah.
Herman, I will say, he went 32-18 at Texas, and went 22-4 at Houston. That's not going to get you fired anywhere but the Texases and the USCs and the Michigans and all that. So
Absolutely.
I mean, what you can, I would like to see what he'd be able to do, and he's still under 50 years old, so he's young enough and great offensive guy too.
Yeah, I second that. Tom Herman interests me a lot. If it weren't for the expectations at Texas, everyone would think he did a fine job. The guys I think they need to stay away from are like the Cliff Kingsbury, those guys. Keep them away from my football program, please. They're just not for me. What do you guys think about Bill O'Brien?
I think I'm going to make another point from the Valeni and Beard. That you got to hire the replacement at the same point. Like he's a guy who wants to be in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's gonna, he's gonna jump ship as soon as things are going great and somebody else is interested in him.
Yeah, that's fair. Tommy Rees.
I mean, even Alabama fans have soured on Tommy Rees as their offensive coordinator now. So
they have no quarterback.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I don't know. That's difficult.
It's underwhelming. I would be underwhelmed by that.
another guy I like, but I mean, I don't know how realistic it would be, and he's kind of older than I want him to coach. Chris Kleiman at Kansas State.
Yeah,
Thought he was pretty good.
yeah, and if you have more, I'm sorry, Vis. I think that is a very intriguing hire. He did an incredible job at North Dakota State. This coaching carousel stuff is like my bread and butter. I could talk about this all night. A bit of a folksy hire for me. I don't know if he is truly a Big Ten, big time program coach. We won't know until someone gives him a chance. It's not a hire that I would say, oh my God, I'm not watching a single game. I can't believe they just did that. You know, if they brought him from Kansas State, if they could get Colin Klein, the OC, to come with them, you know, if they give him $6.5 million, if they give Kleiman $6.5 million, you know, he's done a great job at Kansas State. I don't think that would be a bad hire.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the championship experience and everything. It's just, you know, I'd have to do more of a deep dive into his stuff. But I mean,
likes to run the
I don't.
ball.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I do. Well, with Deuce Vaughn there, how could you not?
That's fair. That's a fair point.
But yeah, I mean, I like him enough. I think there are other guys I like more than that, but he has the experience.
Absolutely.
I think.
Yeah.
I could talk about the coaching stuff all night. I mean, Maryland can wait.
I've heard people. I've heard people talk about, I think, Lance Leopold, the guy from Kansas.
He's too old for me, honestly.
He's like, what? Isn't he like 60?
He's 60 already.
Yikes! Thank you.
That's
no way.
I think my max was at 55. To be honest, and
yeah,
that's even pushing it. Yeah.
It's recruiting with the way you have to recruit nowadays. I mean, it's a tough job to be a college football coach. It's you have to have energy. I mean, not to say that Lance Leopold doesn't have energy, or you know, but I think Vis, you hit on the head. Kleiman is about where I'd max out age wise. I think he's 56, maybe 57, unless it's Urban Meyer.
55, 56, something like that. Yeah. Well, we'll throw another couple names out here just to see what you guys think.
Please.
How are we feeling, Brian Hartline or Jim Leonard?
Thank you, Brian Hartline. Thank you. Okay, let me start with Leonard. That's a hard no from me.
Okay.
Agree.
Absolutely not. You don't take the guy that very vocally or very obviously wanted the Wisconsin job, and Wisconsin said
didn't get it. Yeah.
No, I don't think you want a cast off. Hartline, I think you're rolling the dice there, but it's a gamble that I might be willing to take. I would be excited if they hired him. I think the one thing that people say, great recruiter, I think that all three of us could probably recruit to Ohio State. You know, they have a lot to offer. It's a pretty easy job to recruit.
It sells itself. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Great way to say it. No head coaching experience again. I think that's tough, but the age 36 is right. He's obviously done a great job with those receivers. Definitely roll the dice, but I always liked the Ohio State guys. I think Antonio was Ohio State assistant. I like that, taking guys from that mold that have that Big Ten background. You know, I think that would be an exciting hire, Nikki.
For me, if we go the coordinator route without head coaching experience, Hartline's the guy.
I would agree with
for
that.
Sure.
I would agree with that. Nikki, what do you think about Leonard or Hartline?
I mean, I agree with you.
Did I take everything?
Leonard is just hard no. You don't want Wisconsin's reject.
Yes.
It's not like it's Alabama's reject or Georgia's
we kind of
reject.
tried that.
Yeah. Wisconsin gets the people that reject us, Luke Fickle.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I mean, Hartline's a gamble. If he can bring some players with him from Ohio State, I wouldn't mind that either.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Bench warmers there are probably our best players next year.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, a name that's been thrown around. It's pretty obvious. The old defensive coordinator, Pat Narduzzi. That name has been thrown around. I think I'm going to guess everyone here, along with me, is a hard no on that one.
Yeah, would agree on that.
Yeah, and let me put an asterisk next to that. I have tons of respect for Pat Narduzzi. Awesome defenses he coached at Michigan State. Totally deserved the opportunity he got at Pittsburgh, but he has done nothing there to excite me or lead me to believe that he can take Michigan State to the next level. I think he could go 8-4 most years. I think he could probably do that if that's what you want. Probably a great hire.
If you want to be a mid-tier if you want to be a big mid-tier Big Ten team, then that's fine.
Yep.
But that's not what we want. And I don't.
I mean, his
think
biggest
he's the guy to take us
accomplishment
where we want.
was losing a bowl game to Mel Tucker. So
Yes.
Goose. Fair enough.
Goose. Sorry. I put myself on mute.
So I guess that's a hard no there. And I know Sharon Moore, Michigan's offensive coordinator. Vis, I'll let you start on that one.
Right. I mean, let's approach this. I would say from the standpoint of a non-biased fan, he's done a great job with their offense and making that an elite unit, and that's probably the kind of thing that we kind of need. As a Spartan, I cannot sign off on hiring a Wolverine to coach a Spartan team.
Hey, Goose.
I mean, that's just too much.
Biggie Mon.
I mean, it's just a simple principle. I cannot hire a Wolverine assistant to coach the Michigan State football team.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I actually thought about it from a different. Am I off mute now? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
I actually thought about it from a different perspective. I would love the opportunity to take a coach from Michigan and that present the opportunity for him to beat the crap out of them every year. And we could say, we literally took a coach from you that beats the crap out of him. Just for the chance to have that, I would take roll the dice on Sharon Moore.
That would be nice. It's just me personally, I can't do it. I can't see myself supporting someone who used to coach the Michigan football team.
The second he puts on green and white, we would give our lives.
Well, I mean,
That's right.
I'm sure we would. Another thing with him is I feel like this is something they say about Hartline too at Ohio State. I feel like he's kind of waiting for when Harbaugh says he's done, and he's kind of the head coach and waiting over there.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, I don't know who. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I will say one thing about Sharon Moore. I don't think it's difficult right now to succeed as the Michigan offensive coordinator. They have a fantastic offensive line. They have a pretty solid, high level, probably first round pick next year, maybe day 2 quarterback. And they've got weapons. I mean, running backs, the backfield's incredible. And their wide receivers are nothing to scoff at. So how much of that is him? I don't know. It's not exactly hard to succeed.
They also play like 3 real games a year. So
I mean,
they automatically win. Like you're saying, it's pretty easy to win 9 of their games a year.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a fair point too. That he's got every tool available to him to work with right now, and he would have to work from the ground up with us, and we don't know how well that would work out.
Yeah, you know whose name I see come up too often is David Shaw. I mean, absolutely not, right? No go.
No,
I don't. It's too old school. I think he's done coaching. I mean,
should be.
I mean, look at how much Stanford fell off in the last 10 years.
Yeah,
I mean that was very ugly.
Yeah,
I mean, they even lost Northwestern, didn't they?
Yeah. Speaking of Northwestern, what would you guys make of Pat Fitzgerald?
Okay, that would be really funny. That's a downgrade, though. I don't want Northwestern's old coach who got fired.
He did a good job there. I mean,
I'll be honest with this. Yeah, I think he's a good coach. The optics on that are just so terrible. There's no way they could possibly do that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fair
point.
Very funny though.
Yeah, that's another name I see coming up way too often is Jason Candle from Toledo. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy's been there for 9 years. I don't think it's because he loves Toledo, Ohio. I mean,
Exactly.
it's,
Rocket for life.
No one coaches in the MAC for 9 years and then goes somewhere else.
right. Yeah.
It goes to a Power 5 team, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 6 years ago, if he was a name, maybe. But
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think
he
we
has
hit 'em
done a good.
all.
Yeah.
He has done a good job there. But
Yeah. I agree.
it's,
Yeah. I just think if there was a Power 5 opportunity, someone would have given it to him by now.
I thought one of the funniest conversations I saw on this was when Lenny was having people call in
Oh
and
my
somebody said
gosh.
Butch Jones.
He threw his headphones. Butch Jones crying on the
Butch
sidelines.
Butch Jones is getting fired at Arkansas State.
Yeah.
I mean, some people think MSU is like a high school. The way they're like, oh yeah, they had to fire Mel Tucker. No one's ever going to want to go to this school, a school that just
Right.
paid Mel Tucker $95 billion.
Right. Chris Creighton from Eastern Michigan.
Oh yeah,
Pat Shermer. That was another
PJ
one.
Fleck all the way.
You know what? I wouldn't hate PJ Fleck. I could row the boat.
I mean,
I could get on board.
my opinion on that changes by the day.
Sure.
Put it that way. Sometimes it's like, yeah, he's done a good job, or I don't see
Yeah.
it.
I'm kinda-
As of
I'm with
right,
you.
I'm a no, but if he got hired, I would talk myself into believing.
Of
But I
course.
could also say
yeah.
that about
I mean,
anyone though. So
that's another thing he excels at, though, is getting people to believe once he's there.
Yeah. Yep. He's a motivator for sure.
Yeah. All right. I feel like we've hit every coaching candidate in the book.
Yeah, I'm
Would you
scrolling.
agree?
I'm trying to
Yeah.
make sure we didn't miss anything. The guy from Iowa State, Matt
Matt
Campbell.
Campbell now.
6
Another-
years
another-
ago, I think that would be a
Exactly.
great hire.
Another guy 6 years ago, but they've fallen so far, like that Stanford fall.
Yeah.
It's not.
I mean, now we're just naming names of coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we hit the big ones.
One thing that we do need to look out for, though, the rest of the season, I think, is Texas A&M. As much as I don't like them, they got to do well, because if Jimbo gets fired, they get whoever they want.
Yeah, we go from
That's
the best
fair.
opening to
Yeah.
the second best opening. Another one, Florida, too. We do not want
Yeah.
that job opening either.
Yeah.
Mike
I don't-
Elko was the coordinator at Texas A&M too,
That's
so
right.
that would probably be
Yeah,
an install.
that would hurt. I feel like listening to your point with Florida, I feel like Napier's done a decent enough job, especially with the Tennessee win last week.
I was going to say that Tennessee
Get
win
through.
was
Yeah,
big.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was they needed that one, and we
mean,
did too.
We needed that
only
one.
he's only in year 2. I mean, I feel like everybody's talking about how there needed to be this huge rebuild and everything. We do need to rebuild, but at the same time, it doesn't need to take 5 years like it has been in the past.
No, I don't think it's an overhaul type rebuild. I think it's a more of just like a bit of a reset, maybe. Just
Yeah, well, I mean, the nature of college football now too is teams
Yeah.
flip things around like that. You're
Yeah.
not if it's a guy that's going to be preaching patience for 4 or 5 years, no one's going to want him. You're not getting that job.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. Couldn't agree more. One last name before we move on
Okay,
that I
okay.
just was scrolling as I'm kind of scrolling through the articles here. And this is the first article I've seen with this name. This is 247 Sports. It has him fourth on the list. Glenn Schumann,
Well, I
DC,
have seen that.
Georgia, 33 years old. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Georgia I mean, their last defensive coordinator moved on to head coaching job. He's doing pretty well over in Oregon. So.
Yep, Dan Lanning.
And
Yeah.
the one before that just got fired at Michigan
Oh,
State.
Also true.
We didn't need that.
Back to the well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I could do the coaching thing all night. So
Yeah.
why don't we move
Yeah,
on to Maryland?
We're on to Maryland. Let's make some turtle soup.
Lost to them last year. They're 3-0 this year. Tua Jr. Tagovailoa is still over there. in like year 7 or whatever it is. Nick, what are we thinking? I'll start with you on this one.
So the number one thing I would like to see from MSU would be a pulse. I mean,
That's a good
like,
place to start.
that would be nice to see.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to be invested in the game past the first like 7 minutes.
Mhm.
I don't know. Washington was really good. It was a crazy situation. Maybe that was just. I hope to God that was just a ton of bad situations happening at once. Bad day in the office. Maybe we shook it off, burned the tape, and Maryland's Maryland. We are a more talented team than Maryland. I
Mhm.
believe that we should at least have a chance. We probably won't win, but if we, this is such a sad thing to say, but if we could look competitive and
Oh,
have some
God.
younger guys play, then
You just want to look
I wouldn't be
competitive against
happy.
Maryland?
I wouldn't be happy, but like,
Oh,
it's fucking something.
Jesus.
you weren't lying when you said this is going to be so sad. That is
Yeah,
sad.
yeah.
That is sad.
I never thought I'd see the day where we just want to look competitive against Maryland. Okay.
Yeah, if I could piggyback off that.
Yeah, go
First
ahead.
of all, I think last week was a rotten week for a top 10 team like Washington to come to town. I mean, it was, you thought maybe for a second the team would be come together. The Rose Bowl team is there. Maybe the stars would align and they would play like out of their minds. I think we learned pretty quickly that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
I think this week presents a great opportunity for a bounce back. I don't know if we're more talented than Maryland. I certainly don't think we're better coached.
That's saying a
Again,
lot too.
Yeah, I just last week was obviously such a bad situation. Not only because of all that was going on, it was a matchup nightmare. I mean, we do not have the
Mhm.
defensive backfield to play defense against that team. Maryland, having said that, I think they rank pretty well offensively, passing wise. I think let me pull up the stats here. I was looking at it earlier.
I have it. They're
22nd in
third,
total offense through 3 games, and passing
third.
offense.
Was it? I have 39th in passing offense from what I saw.
Oh, okay.
Which, I mean, that's not
it
that
could
big
be.
a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I was
Who
looking
have they
up
played?
wrong.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly. That's what
That's
I
a
was going to say.
great
They haven't played
question. They have
anybody.
played really not anybody. I have it up here. Hold on. It's kind of alarming how bad their schedule has been. Towson was the first game, and they only won 38-6. But that's pretty comparable to Michigan State versus Richmond, I would say.
Richmond, yeah. They're in the same conference.
Yep.
Towson
They
and
played
Richmond, yeah.
Charlotte week 2, and they won 38-20.
Jeff Pogge.
Yes, that's right. Former associate head coach at Michigan, correct?
Yes.
So a 38-20 win versus Charlotte. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Doesn't
a
impress.
bottom
Yeah.
tier American conference team.
I would say Michigan
Yeah.
State's Central win is probably a little better than that. 42-14 at Virginia, or not at Virginia, but against Virginia. I don't know how good Virginia is. I mean,
I looked it up. I looked up their defensive stats earlier.
Yeah.
They are bottom 30 in the country in every notable defensive statistic.
Okay. So I mean,
they're 120th in total defense. Give up 450 yards a game.
How much do we give up?
Yeah.
we were better. I have that too. 75 less.
Okay.
75 less.
Oh wow. Hey,
So
nice.
maybe a little more resistance.
We're 84th. They're 120th. So they're 117 in rush defense, 104 in pass defense, and 126 in scoring defense.
Okay, so their defense is really bad.
Yeah, they're awful.
Yeah.
Maryland went off. Oh,
Yeah.
and that passing number that I read for Maryland earlier was for their defense. So you're right about that.
Okay.
Offense.
Yeah, I mean Maryland is, so they're averaging 40 points a game. They haven't scored less than 38 in any of their 3 games, with the asterisks of Towson and Charlotte. I think last year's loss to Maryland was so deflating. I just, there's part of me that's like, Nikki's like, please put up a fight this year. Can I please have some fun on Saturday and really be interested in the football game? And then there's another part of me that's like, you just got to win this one. I mean, you have to. The team cannot be this bad in year 4. I know that Mel Tucker's not the coach anymore, but it cannot be at home losses to Maryland. You know,
Homecoming.
yeah, I mean, you got to figure out a way to win this one, and that's where I go back to. If Kim is struggling early, I think you give Hauser a shot, and
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you can't put Kim back in if Hauser looks terrible too.
Mhm.
But you gotta do something. The sense of urgency for this game I think is big, because if you
Yeah.
don't win this game, I think your chances of going to a bowl game are
They're out the window
Yeah.
completely.
right. Because
Thank
then
you.
you've got Rutgers, Indiana, in Nebraska,
At
I think, maybe.
Minnesota.
Yeah, at Minnesota. Like
Minnesota,
obviously,
Nebraska, yeah.
obviously we can count the Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State games as losses at this
Those are
point.
losses, yeah.
Yeah. So then your chances of beating teams to get to 6 wins, if you don't win this one, the
Margin of
window
error is 0.
exactly. So the window's closing quickly if they lose this one.
Mhm.
So at home, 6.5-point dogs. I know they looked bad last week. I just think this is one you got to find a way to win. You have to come together.
Yeah.
And it's a great opportunity, like Nick, like you said, to reset. Hey guys, last week was a nightmare. Not only with everything going on, that team was just a lot better than we are. They have way more dudes than we do. But this is a team we know we can beat. Let's come together. Harlan Barnett has got the first game under his belt. Maybe D'Antonio's role is a little more he's a little more what's the word I'm looking for? Like cemented his role a little more.
Yeah.
His presence is feeling felt. Just
little more
get that one
influential.
behind you. Yeah. And just like
It's also it's Big Ten play. Like
Mhm.
0-0 Big Ten
You gotta
play.
get go. Yeah.
Yep.
Real season starts. We can have some fun. We can win some
Yep.
We're
games.
gonna have some fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're certainly not
I-
going to roll over, but
Yeah.
I just got to win this one.
Yeah. I think the only thing that bugs me about Maryland is we always seem to struggle with Talia a little bit, and I don't like
Yeah.
their offensive scheme against the way our defense has played the last 4 years.
Yep. They're going to throw the ball. I mean, they're going to throw the ball.
Oh yeah, that's what they
Yep.
do. It's
Yep.
And well, the interesting thing is they scored 4 rushing touchdowns against Virginia last week,
Wow.
and Talia only threw for 1. So
He has almost 1,000 yards passing through 3 games.
889, I believe
Yeah.
it is.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I mean,
that's
yeah.
we held.
And-
I mean, he threw for 314 against us last year, but only 1 touchdown. So
Yeah.
that's it. But I mean, last 2 games
Yeah.
against MSU, 314, 350. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't
Yep.
be giving up that kind of stuff and expect to
No.
win a game.
No, if they do that, they'll probably lose. I mean, I don't expect them to hold him to 175 yards, but if you could keep it under
Yeah.
300, look, we're not going to win the game 7-0. I'll tell you that right now.
Mm-mm,
We're probably going to have to
Mm-mm.
win by scoring 28 to 35 points.
Yeah.
Last year, and I'm trying to remember the game, we were at Maryland last year, right? And I feel like he
Yes.
was just
Yeah.
kind of running around, scrambling, extending the plays, and then making throws. If we could try and keep him in the pocket, put some pressure on him, and if we can kind of
Well,
just get back to that physical defense we were playing
Yeah.
in those first 2
Yeah.
games, that's what we need.
Hold them to field goals. I know it's not the best way to win, but
Yeah.
Seems
Well, I
like-
mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I agree. You got to keep him in the pocket. Well, to me, he's actually at his best when he's out on the run.
He's a good athlete.
Yeah.
They don't have 4 receivers that are going to get drafted to the NFL, which is a plus.
I had that written down. Their receivers are not as good as they have been over the past couple of years.
Yep.
So that should help a little bit. I mean, and I think, as bad as our offense is, looking at the offenses that they've played, we have the best offense that they've played so far, which is not saying a lot, but
Yep. And it's a good it's good that we just played the best team that we played all year. They still haven't played anybody. So
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a
Yeah.
big game under our belt. We've been tested way more than they have. What go ahead, Trev.
I was just gonna say we've been humbled, and they're still riding that false confidence.
Yeah,
wave
we have
as
certainly
we
been
get
humbled.
into- Yeah.
yeah.
What does the injury report look like? Are we still going to be out? Berger, Mangum?
Yeah.
Barnett said a week away. At the press conference earlier
Okay.
this
Sounds
week.
like
Um,
I think
Yeah.
someone is supposed to be back though. I forget. I think Brantley got hurt at the end of the game, but they said he'll be fine.
He said Brantley was fine. Yes.
Darius Snow, any update on him?
He played in the last
He's-
game. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I
So,
remember did he just get a few snaps, or was he?
thought they
in.
said something like 17 or something like
Oh, that's
that.
not bad.
Okay, cool.
Gotta get your feet wet. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
I feel like there was somebody else he said was out though that we're missing. I don't know. I don't remember. Oh,
Hopefully no one on the offensive line.
no, Hopper surgery on his leg.
Oh yeah, Hopper. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, well, Mel did Mel did like to
I think-
recruit tight ends and linebackers. So I mean,
Yeah, we have about 50. But I think Ken Talley and Tumsley Adelaide will be back.
yes, he did say
Oh,
that too.
great.
Yes,
That's
yes.
good. We need some beef on the defense.
That's one Nick was texting me during the game. Hey, I think Adelaide's done, gonna transfer out.
Gosh.
So it's
no,
good. It's good to
please.
see him back in there. Yeah. That
All right,
that
so-
was something that we needed in the last game. They would
Yeah,
have put
no
a little bit
kidding.
of pressure on
Yeah.
Phoenix a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bad when a team that's not known for running the ball too is just taking whatever they want in the running game as well. When defensive
Yeah.
line really had no presence last game.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
The closest they got was that Penix completion to Doomsday or whoever it was. Maybe it was McMillan at midfield
Yeah.
over Brantley, the one we talked about earlier. Yeah.
It was incredible. All right. So predictions.
I'm gonna go 38-31 MSU.
Oh, okay. Nice. Nikki.
Well, you convinced me. We're gonna pull it off. Homecoming, but I think our defense is gonna hold them a bit more than you guys think. It's gonna be 24-21. That's the good guys.
Yeah, I think it's
don't
going to
feel
be. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't feel like we can hold them to 21 points. I don't feel like we have a defense that can do that. It's just me.
I think you'll be
But-
surprised.
Well, what's
Okay.
the over under?
I haven't looked. So I feel like we're gonna need to score a lot of points to win this one.
The over under is 52.5. And Maryland is now favored by 7.5. So they're
Jesus.
thinking like 28, 25 or 30,
Yeah, but-
basically 30 to 22 kind of game. I could see it being a slop fest that either team wins, 24-21, like Nick said, or something weird, 22-19. I want to pick Michigan State so bad. There's something that tells me they're going to win this one.
Just do it. Come on.
I think, and if they win, I don't think it's going to be 22-19. I think they'll win by a touchdown. Let me go Michigan State. Oh boy, here we go. 27-24. Spartans by a field goal, 27-24. I know I just said that. I
Kim
don't
at the
think
buzzer. Yeah.
I know I just said I don't think they're going to win one by a field goal. I
Yeah.
keep changing my mind. I honestly can't make up my mind about this game.
I have no idea what this team is.
Yeah, I just have
No,
no idea.
exactly.
I don't think it's obviously not as good as it was versus Richmond and Central. And I don't think we're as bad as we were last week.
Yeah.
I think it's
It's
somewhere in the
between
middle.
for sure.
Yeah. I'll revise it. 31-21 Spartans.
Interesting.
Before we go,
Yeah.
let's make some picks.
Okay. I'm with that.
I got this. All right. Michigan at home versus Rutgers -24. Trav, you first.
Michigan's in that way. Yeah. Michigan
Oh.
easily.
Michigan to cover.
Are we picking cover? I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say
against
they
spread.
probably cover in that one.
All right, Nikki.
It's Rutgers. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Michigan's only covered like one game this year, I think. I think Rutgers covers.
I agree. I'm with Nikki.
You just changed your mind in 2 seconds.
Willie,
You said you said you agreed with me, and then you told Nick you agreed with him.
Oh, I don't think they're going to cover that. 24. Rutgers tough defense. Michigan.
Eh,
I think he's right. Florida State at Clemson. Florida State -2.
Florida State -2.
Yeah, Florida State.
All right, I'm with you guys
I don't-
there.
yeah.
This line is crazy to me. Colorado at Oregon. Oregon is giving 21 points.
I'll go Colorado. I don't think Oregon covers that. I think Oregon beats them, but I don't think it's a 21-point game.
At Oregon,
At Oregon.
I think Colorado gets sent back to rally a little bit. And I think Oregon blasts them.
I
They
think
cover.
so too. I think it's a line so crazy. I just have to pick it. I'm going with Oregon.
Interesting.
Colorado lost that.
Yeah,
two-way
they don't
player.
have Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
They don't have
Travis
Travis Hunter. That's
It's a classic MSU OSU line where we think, oh, there's no way that OSU can beat us by 17 points, and it's
Right.
14-0
Exactly.
at
That's
halftime.
exactly what it is. That's
I just think that's
exactly what it is.
absurd. I just think that's absurdly high for a ranked matchup.
It certainly is, but
Yeah.
that's why it's
Yeah.
so. That's why
Yeah.
you just got. It's a sketchy line. Geez, there's a lot of ranked games this week. Alabama hosting Ole Miss, -6.5. Alabama's -6.5.
I honestly think Ole Miss wins that game. I'll go.
Ooh.
I don't like Alabama. I
this.
don't like Alabama's quarterback situation.
Yeah, it's
You
tough.
guys
It's
are
ugly.
garbage. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had to pull one out against South Florida last week.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not betting against Saban. They cover. I just
Yeah.
right.
These games are always good. I feel like these are always kind of a close game. I'm going to take Ole Miss. I think Alabama pulls it out, but I'm going to take Ole Miss to cover the spread. I'm going to skip. There's a couple other ranked. I mean, there's a lot of ranked games this week.
Yeah.
Let's do two. I got two more. Because this one's in the Big Ten. Iowa at Penn State. Penn State is favored by 15.
At Penn State.
Yep, at Penn State.
Yes, it's at Penn State.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, Penn
Yeah,
State
that
covers.
is a really tough one. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I haven't watched Iowa a lot, but I mean those offensive struggles from the past couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah, I
If
know.
that comes into play at all, they're getting absolutely housed.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Iowa could score 15 points. But I don't. I mean, I haven't watched a lot of Penn State. I know they put up some big numbers. Penn State
I'm
at
just-
home, 2 touchdowns. I feel I got to go Penn State there. I just don't know if Iowa's going to be able to
Yeah.
do anything on the road.
Yeah, I mean that atmosphere at Happy Valley is something.
Yeah.
If you haven't been there, it's unlike a lot of other places. It's crazy and it's absolutely hostile for a road team.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I got to get there. All right, final game, and then we can all have our Thursday nights. Ohio State traveling to Notre Dame as 3-point favorites.
Nick, I'll let you go first on this one.
Ohio State's favored.
Yep, -3.
I like Ohio. I like Notre Dame.
I do too.
I like
Actually, I
All
don't.
right.
I don't like Kyle. I like Sam Hartman way more than Kyle McCord going into that.
That's fair. I think the Ohio State
yeah.
quarterback situation is tough. I haven't watched a lot of Ohio State. I think the quarterback from Notre Dame looks legit.
I mean, he looked legit at Wake Forest for 2 years.
Yeah.
So is and he,
I'm going to be the contrarian. I'm going to go with Ohio State. But they got, you know what? Ohio State for the Big Ten. They got it. They got to pull this one out.
Yeah, they do. I hate Notre Dame.
Yeah, if Ohio State doesn't win this game, Michigan and Penn State's asses are in the jackpot. They got to win out and do something for the Big Ten.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's fair.
All right, take us out, Vis.
All right. Well, that's all we got for Spartan Savants this week. We'll see you next week.
Go
Reviewing
green.
some games and stuff.
Go White.
Same stuff. Go green, go white.